This is a rebroadcast of the Eau Claire School Board meeting. The audio for this program can be heard on WRFP LP 101.9 FM.
Let's open the school board meeting for tonight. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary Iverson, have we complied with the Opens Meetings Law notification?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. Please do a roll call vote for verifying quorum.
Commissioner Spindler,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson, not here. Commissioner Cummins, here. Commissioner Hombach-Boyle, here. Commissioner Duax, here. Commissioner Vu, here. Commissioner Jean.
Here. Great, thank you. So tonight we have two who have signed up for the public forum. You have, I think, 4 minutes to speak, but go ahead. First we have Mary Beth Kelly-Lowe. Please come up, state your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, Mary Beth Kelly-Lowe. I live at 1711 Russ Street, Eau Claire, and I'm here tonight to give you some good news. I am the Executive Director of the Public Schools Foundation, and the trustees were aware of some of the findings from the teacher and staff satisfaction survey, and we realize that teachers work so hard and they need some more recognition and you know, it can start with a simple thank you, but we had a business owner, business member of the community who came forward and said, my son had a great experience and this has been in the works for a while, and he said, I want to do something to honor the teachers of this community. So it looks like we're going to be having a special awards event next fall, and it's going to allow every school to put forward their educator of the year, and so we're very excited about it, and the details will be forthcoming. But I just wanted to let you know that the business community is out there working to recognize teachers.
Wow, great, thank you. Good to hear. Look forward to hearing more about it. Appreciate it. And next we have James Martin up. Come on up, James.
Good evening, my name is James Martin. I live at 511 Summit Avenue here in Eau Claire, and I am the elected labor chair for the Teachers Association. I have one question for Patty. If I wanted to use the document camera, I would press, I'm thinking the one that says doc cam.
Here.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So tonight I wanted to just briefly speak with you about the an item you have on your individual resolution agenda, and that is the approval of the health insurance rates for next year, and a glimpse into the future about health insurance rates for the next 2 years. We have entered into a long-term, the district into a multi-year contract with Security Health, and we've been able to do some amazing things with that. One is capping the insurance rates for the HMO participants at 5% for multiple years, and also setting some caps for those that are part of what's called the Open Access Network. Another thing we've been able to do is start up the Security sponsored Marshfield Clinic, walk-in clinic for our employees, and we've heard nothing but wonderful things about that from everyone that I've talked to. So I appreciate that vision of looking forward and able to enter into a contract that allows changes in these things to happen over multiple years. What I did want to highlight, though, was a couple of concerns about what happens as you look into the future. So one item that you should have in your board pack is a spreadsheet from Dan Vandewater. I don't expect you to spend a lot of time following what I'm about to say, but you have this information that I'm about to show you, and that is that for next year, the out-of-pocket cost for 15-16 for the open access, when you look at the employee for a family plan, employee contribution, is going to be just shy of $5,000. So that is what's going to come out of their checks next year if they choose to stay on the open access plan. And we knew that because we've agreed to these rates as maximum caps. As we go forward into the next year, and you don't have this sheet, this is using Dan's numbers and just forecasting forward based upon our agreement, that contribution by your employees, if they choose to stay with the open access, is going to go to just over $6,100 for a family plan. And as we go into the final year, it could be as high as $7,400. Now, there are some assumptions on this. As you look at the handout that was provided to you by through the board docs, that there are assumptions and there's a series of if-thens that this is based on. And again, you don't need to go 100% on what I'm saying. I'm just cautioning us that as we look forward, we're going to have a situation where some of our employees, if they choose to stay with open access, are going to see some very significant cost sharing with the district. I just wanted to highlight that so that, again, I'm not asking you to make any changes, just please keep that in the back of your head as you're thinking of what the future holds for your employees. And the open access plan, this is a plan benefits document from Security Health, and if they chose the open access, there's a little bit of a piece there that it suggests that the individual premium or individual deductible is $3,000 for an individual and $6,000 for a family. That's true if they stay within within these 4 counties of Barron, Chippewa, Dunn, and Eau Claire. But on open access, if they choose to go beyond those counties for their services outside of the HMO network, the open access that they have actually pushes their out-of-pocket expenses closer to $6,000, $12,000, and then on top of that, a copay that adds either $1,000 or $2,000, depending on if they're individual or family. So again, a lot of numbers. My point is there are dramatic costs to some of your employees if they choose, and it's their choice, this other option. And so as you're thinking about things like your strategic plan and how to reward your employees and how to provide balanced access to health care or choice in the health care that they have in front of them, I encourage you tonight during your work session to keep in the back of your mind that there are some very serious expenses out there for your employees as they move forward. And they've already faced, this district was able to save money in the last several years by WRS contributions being shifted to the employee, millions of dollars that allowed us to meet our budget and actually have some savings. And again, our health insurance caps, we moved those down to 87.4% and saved millions of dollars there by setting that cap on the HMO and the in-network costs. The point is, lots of savings that you've been able to get from your employees shifting expenses to them. And we understand you had to do that. But as you think about what's next and as we're looking forward, referendums, things like that, please keep that in mind. Your employees are working very hard and they're trying to do the best they can, and we know you're trying to do the best you can too. So just some words of encouragement to you and perspective as you have as a backdrop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. I appreciate that. Okay, that's all that we had for public comments tonight. So next, Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I want to go over some upcoming Board of Education events with you. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the Administration Building, there will be a charter choice meeting. March 23rd through the 27th, schools will be closed for spring break. March 26th, there will be a meeting of the Joint Commission on Shared Services at the Eau Claire County Courthouse, and that meeting will begin at 7:30 a.m. And there are 3 board members who serve on that commission. And on April 6th at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building, there will be a school board meeting. On Friday, March 6th, students, present staff, and former staff, as well as alumni gathered to celebrate Roosevelt Elementary School's 60th year of educating students. They had an all-school pride celebration that included Roosevelt Trivia, a historic slideshow, and a birthday cake and frozen custard donated by Walmart and Culver's. And they had 3 sample trivia questions, which I thought were really interesting. The original name of the school before it was called Roosevelt was 8th Street School. And Roosevelt was named after both Teddy and Theodore Franklin Roosevelt. And at the time that the school was named, there were 4 choices: Roosevelt, Truax Park, Jefferson, and Franklin. And the school has had 5 principals in that 60-year span. So, congratulations to Roosevelt. We also want to congratulate 4 of our memorial teachers who presented at the National Science Teachers Association Conference in Chicago last weekend. Bev Pearson, Aaron Lade, Joel Rubidek, and Nikki Anderson were presenters. And it's really, I think it's very gratifying to see that their proposals were accepted and that they could share their expertise on a national stage. And I have one more thing, but we'll wait until the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. I don't have too much, just a few reminders. This Wednesday is a WASB Day at the Capitol for lobbying our legislators. If you haven't written yours and you want to, please do. I'll be there for that. Some board members are attending the national board meeting this coming weekend, and maybe we can get a little report back on how it went when you come back. April 7th is Prairie Ridge's Night to Fight Hunger fundraiser at Hooligan, so any board members who want to go, I guess there's a couple of tickets left, or anyone else can attend. And finally, May 2nd, I want to remind board members, let's see if I got it here. May 2nd is the Spring Academy for those who would like to attend that again this year for board members. And there's 3 tracks like normal. One's an introduction to board service. The second is a referendum path. And the third is developing effective leadership skills. So just a reminder that you've got that if you want to attend that annual Spring Academy by WASB. So, and that's it for me. So let's go on to student representative reports. Which would you like to go first? Jonah? Okay, great.
So, the Wednesday after our last school board meeting, all of the high school students took a survey, and the final question on the survey was, please give us the contact information for how we can contact you upon graduation. And that was directly pertinent to what we talked about at the meeting and like the last meeting and reaching out to our graduates. But a lot of people actually did not want to put down their contact information for fear of government tracking and things along those lines. So maybe some explanation going into those kind of questions going forward, because obviously it's valuable data, but wasn't necessarily phrased or put out there in the correct way. Other than that, AP tests, sign up for all AP tests are doing Wednesday, so it's a good thing. As board members, I would just encourage you guys to keep promoting these things. They're great things for us students to have. We've both taken advantage of them, and expanding them in the future is just something that'll keep benefiting our students. Other than that, the band program memorial is going to Florida. And then finally, I want to talk about this book I read, which I think maybe quite a few of you have read. This is Schools Cannot Do It Alone by Jamie Vollmer. I don't know if you guys read it or what you think about it, and I read it over the past 2 weeks, and I just want to make a comment on something it's very important when you guys are discussing these things in your work session. So the quote is, "To remedy the problem, they put together a coalition of local stakeholders and charged them with answering what I think is a single most important question. What do our graduates need to know and be able to do when they graduate? By working locally, they tacitly acknowledged one of my core beliefs. The farther the decision maker is from the child, the dumber the decision gets." So that's a truth that you guys all know, that the farther it gets away, if it's important that we're looking for our students how it benefits them first. But as I read this, I was thinking, if the farther away the decision gets from the child, the dumber it gets, why aren't we taking advantage of the wealth of knowledge in the students? The students are the people going to class in and out every day. They know what's going on in the school. They know what works. I mean, obviously a large majority might want recess in high school and things like that, but there is a small minority who know what works best and really have the best intentions in their heart. And I think as a school board going forward, having representatives are good, but it's also, I think in the decision-making process, it'd be, I don't know, great to look at that, the assets we have in the students. So, thank you.
Good comment. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, Hannah.
All right, I completely agree with everything that was said today. Piggybacking on the AP testing coming up, this year AP test registration forms were not handed out in classes. Students were told to print them off online and fill them out and send them. And I think that complicated the process a little bit and made students a little bit more hesitant to fill them out because they might not have had the resources to fill it out or the time to go to the Learning Center or the library and print them out. And on top of that, I only had two teachers mention the AP test registration deadline, and I think it's really important that teachers stress that to make sure that students sign up in time and know about it and can really get those tests taken to increase the numbers and increase awareness of AP classes. And then on just kind of a fun note, last week was Pi Week at North, and it wasn't just Pi Day, it was Pi Week. And all of the math teachers got really into it, and it really increased support for the math programs at North. They did everything from who can memorize the most digits of pi, which I think was like 168 this year. That was pretty high. To the teachers dressed up like different types of pie puns one day. So that was Pythagoras, a pirate, shepherd pie, stuff like that. It was really fun. And then yeah, they were good. And then on Friday, it was really neat. We got to go around to all of the math teachers, and they all took a turn explaining a different part of pi or doing a fun little pi thing. And it was a great way to meet the math teachers that I wasn't fortunate enough to have while I was at North. I've only had 4 math teachers, so I got to meet a lot of the other ones and see what they're like. And that was a really good experience. And I think the freshmen this year who now know all of the math teachers are going to benefit from that, and all the underclassmen, because now they probably feel more comfortable going and asking another teacher for help. So I think that was a really positive thing that happened at North last week.
Great. I made sure we had pie on Pi Day. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, board committee reports. I'm not sure. I know a number of committees did not meet. My one question, did budget committee meet since our last meeting? Do we have a budget report? You did not. Okay. Okay. And I know P&G did not. I'm not sure any did. Charter did not. Okay. So we didn't have any. Okay. All right. Great. So legislative update then.
Good evening, everyone. I am just going to quickly go through the legislative update that WASB sent out on the 13th of March, and then I have a couple updates, okay? The main topics on the legislative update were Speaker Voss has said that no accountability bill, there will be no voucher expansion. I don't know exactly what that means, except that he said he will not support the unlimited expansion of Wisconsin School Choice Program unless the state legislature also passes a school accountability bill this session. And as you all are probably aware, the Assembly committee vote on school accountability has been postponed. So it's all kind of sitting there. And what I thought it would be important tonight is to, and there's copies there, and I put a copy at each of your places about the WASB talking points on the new Assembly version of the school accountability bill. So you have a copy of that. You can go through it. To highlight it a little is multiple tests. The new version would allow multiple tests to be used for state accountability purposes, which WASB supports in current state law. They also speak about the conversion to independent charter schools. The new version, which has the amended version, could require the forced conversion of low-performing schools into independent charter schools. When you read through this, it does talk about the budget impacts that would have on all public schools in Wisconsin. So I thought that was important for you to know that. Not sure that that's what's going to get passed, but I think it's important to keep up on what's sitting there.
And that's tabled right now.
Right now it's tabled. And they're having trouble kind of converting the Senate bill and the Assembly bill. I noted too, well, The other part on here is the letter grades. We've talked about that a lot. The grades in this bill, the new version assigns letter grades. So if you think of the bell curve and you think about what's right in the middle, if you meet all the standards and meet everything that you're accountable for, you are graded a C. So think about that, I guess. The scope of the sanctions is in here. The new version sets a low bar for singling out schools for sanctions. So that would be any school that would have been scored a D or an F. The note in here that I felt was interesting, it says under this year's report cards, 244 schools in 47 districts fell into the two lowest categories. So if they're pulled out and sanctioned and or converted after 2 years to an independent charter school, that money would be taken from the budgets for the rest of the school districts. Okay? And then there's another new version, grants district administrator super authority and not subject to school board authority. So that's in there as well. So read it. There's lots more on the handout. Other things are, I think that's it for that. I also gave you a copy of the most recent action news from the Wisconsin Public Education Network that we are a member of now. And the reason I gave you that is the hearings are coming for the Joint Finance Council, so I thought it was important that people have those dates. The closest one here is on the 23rd at UW-Barron County in Rice Lake from 10 to 5 p.m. So I don't know if we want to talk about who's going to go or if, who's going to do that. Okay, so I gave you that. And then the last thing I handed out was there is a community-wide forum on April 2nd from 6:30 to 8:30 at CVTC called, put on by the Alliance for Strong Communities. It's called What's Really Happening to Private and Public Schools, and it will be tackled by Senator Dale Schultz. He's a Republican from Richland Center, and Representative Mandy Wright, a Democrat from Wausau. So it's a pretty nonpartisan conversation. Okay? Any questions?
Okay.
The date, April 2nd. That's on, I gave you this, so you've got it, I think.
And she's looking, I think, for the March 23rd date for the UW-Barron County event. And anyone can attend that. It's hearings for the public to attend and give comments on the budget, on any topic regarding the budget. So feel free to attend that. Run by the Joint Finance Committee. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. So we next have the consent agenda. Resolution agenda. The board will consider approval of these items. The board has been furnished with background material. We've already discussed it at a previous meeting. They'll be acted on with one vote without discussion. And if a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled out of the consent agenda and voted on separately. So I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2015. I would approve a motion to approve the financial report of February 2015. I would entertain a motion to approve the bills payable February 2015. I would entertain a motion to approve the gift report of February 2015. I'd entertain a motion to approve the budget adjustments of February 2015. And I would entertain a motion to approve the Human Resources Employment Report.
Pull that, please.
Pull that, okay. And I would entertain a motion to approve the revisions to Policy 345.6, graduation requirements, excuse me.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Cummins. Do I have a second? We have a second to approve all except the Human Resources and Employment Reports. Could I have a roll call on that, please? Oh. Trish Cummins was motioned it, and it was seconded by Commissioner Duax.
Commissioner Cummins? Yes. Commissioner Hombach-Boyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Duax?
Yes.
Commissioner Vu? Yes. Commissioner Zhang?
Yes.
Commissioner Spindler?
Yes. Okay, so Commissioner Hombach-Boyle, you pulled Human Resources and Employment Report. Any comments, questions?
I pulled it and then I looked over in case not here, so it's probably kind of not a moot point. But as I look at this, I see that our staff is starting to put in for retirement, and I was just kind of wondering what that kind of looked like. But with Kay not here, that's probably a question that can't be answered, so I pull it.
Okay, we can maybe find more information later if you need it. So I need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Duax. We have a second from Commissioner Cummins. Okay. I guess we can do that in a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And now is when the superintendent wished to make another comment on her report.
So with your approval of the consent agenda tonight, you approve the retirement of Kim Hill Phelps. And Kim is here, and I'm going to ask her to stand so that I can read a little bit of her history in Eau Claire. She's a graduate of Memorial High School, and she attended the University of Wisconsin at Eau Claire with a Bachelor of Science degree and K-8 certification in elementary education, K-9 physical education, and a 7-12 math minor. After successful completion of her education, Kim student taught in grades kindergarten 1 and 4 at Peterson Elementary School in Altoona and physical education at Lowe's Creek Elementary School in Eau Claire. In August 1980, Kim began her career in education teaching grade 1 at Lowe's Creek Elementary School for 6 years. From 1981 through 1986, Kim also served as an assistant girls tennis coach. It was also during this time, during the summers, that Kim attended University of Wisconsin-Madison and earned her master's degree in educational administration. Kim served as an administrative intern at Lowe's Creek during the 1985-86 school year, and she also filled in as an interim principal at Boyd for approximately 6 weeks during the spring of 1986. In August of 1986, Kim was hired as the principal for Arlington Heights Elementary School and Park Elementary School, and she served as principal for those buildings through the 1988-89 school year. Beginning that next year, Kim was a full-time principal at Arlington Heights. Park Elementary School was the next stop in Kim's administrative career, and she served half-time as an elementary principal there and half-time with UW-Eau Claire during the 1990-91 school year. Beginning with the 1991-92 school year, Kim served as a principal at Boyd Elementary School, and she held that position until 1997. In the next year, Kim split her administrative duties between Park Elementary and Boyd Elementary School once again. Then Boyd Elementary School became Kim's full-time building beginning in the 1998-99 school year. She continued there through 2002 when Boyd closed. Then Kim began serving as a principal at the newly opened Flynn Elementary School. Beginning in 2003, Kim shared the position of principal with Jane Robertson Johnson, and Kim and Jane shared the principalship through 2007. At the opening of the 2007-08 school year, Kim again became the sole principal at Flynn, where she continued in that role through this year. And Kim has also acted as the coordinator for the MAPE program. In all, Kim has served the Eau Claire Area School District for 35 years. So, Kim, we know that this was a difficult decision for you, but we wish you the very, very best. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing you in and about the schools in the very near future.
Yes, we'll miss you. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is one individual resolution before we go to a work session, and that's on the health and dental renewal rates. I don't know if we have any administrative comments before we go into that. Okay. Basically, most of it's driven by contract, but I guess before we have a motion, does anyone have any comments or questions? Commissioner comments?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we have 3 board members with a conflict of interest on this issue, and our practice is to be pushed back at this time. Is that how we want to?
Well, let's see. Do we actually have 3 present here that are?
Charles and myself and Chris.
But if that's the case, we do not. Boy. Yes, that is correct. We should have that not present for the discussion, for the vote.
Discussion.
What's that? Well, our policy says it's a majority of those present, and we did have a discussion last time about what present meant, and legal did say present in this case, be by state law would mean those who are who would abstain themselves would really not be present, because by statute then they'd technically be sort of voting on it by saying no in a way, by being there. So they should not be here for the vote for sure. I don't think we ever decided about actually being present for the discussion, but it would seem to not make sense that you should.
Yeah.
It seems you should not be involved in the discussion because you have a conflict of interest. So
It was a pushback recommendation last time we looked at it. It was just to not be.
yeah.
So that you don't have to usually.
Right, I think that makes sense. So those who are planning on abstaining, and I assume, Charles, you also must, correct? So so it would only be the three of us that would discuss and vote on it in the end. So I think it's okay if you just push back. I think that's fine. Otherwise, you could step out if you wanted to, those who are abstaining. So any comments from the other two board members besides myself? You or Catherine? About the
Well, not really. I did call Mr. Vandewater this afternoon and double check the contract, and this is in line with the contract. My only objection is that we never received a copy of the contract, and I'm sorry, I don't believe I have it.
A copy.
We didn't have it before we voted.
A copy of the contract was requested last year when when it was approved, and that was sent to you in a board packet.
Okay.
So we can, we can get you another copy.
I'll look for it.
Okay.
Yes, because I think you did request it that time. And we had it. And it's the same contract because it's a 4 or 5 year contract. I had one question, Dan, maybe, because I had a question from someone about this. Could you just, there's really two things that determine whether we get increases, right? It's the HMO participation rate and the loss ratio. Could you just explain for everyone loss ratio briefly what it means so everyone is aware?
Sure. If your loss ratio, if premiums are equal to expenses, you have a loss ratio of 1. They're equal. If premiums paid are greater than the expenses, you have a loss ratio of less than 1. If your expenses are greater than the premiums paid, you have a loss ratio greater than 1. Or 1 being 100%.
And hence why the carrier would like us to have a lower loss ratio and we get a better rate in that case.
Everyone would like to see a lower loss ratio, right?
Yes, okay. And it seems like we did not meet the criteria this time. Is that accurate?
That is correct. You met the membership criteria at 55%, but the loss ratio is running higher than 95.
Okay, right. All right, this is a little odd with only 3 voting on it, but I think this is how it would happen last time, and we did check with legal on this. So we would never have a more than this anyhow. So I need a motion on the floor to approve this.
I move approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Duax. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Zong. Any other comments or questions about this issue? Not for individual resolutions. We do it for committee reports. Okay, I guess we need a roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Cubbins? Yeah, but you have to say that. Commissioner Hambuck-Boyle? Commissioner Duax?
Yes.
Commissioner Vu? Commissioner Zhang?
Yes.
Commissioner Spindler?
Yes. Okay, so motion passes. It is a bit awkward. We'll have to, if we continue to have this, we'll have to keep thinking about how this, I think we should change the wording in our policy also, just to make it clear, to be consistent with statute on how it works. And really, I think the policy, and I've sent this to P&G already, that it should say something out of ballots cast, because that's what legal interpretation should be that it would be for this. So we'll have to look at that. Okay, so let's go down to the work session now and start that. I have some materials here to get it started to review, and the superintendent has some things together. To go back to that issue, I just had a thought. I hate to bring this up, but we only had 3 voting. Does that count? I'm going to have to check the legal thing before we say this is approved because of a quorum issue with 3 here. Only 3 voting on it. We may have to reschedule that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if those abstaining counts in the quorum, and I don't know the answer to that with Wendy not here tonight. So I think we may have to vote on this again next time. So let us, in the minutes, let us leave this as a question mark that it may not be approved as a resolution. Can you do that? We will check with legal on that and make sure we have a quorum on that next time. Okay? Okay. All right, so let's... no, we don't have a procedure in our policies to do that, to pull our votes separately. So we will check on this, and if there's a deadline, we can have a special meeting on just this topic and post that if we need to. But I think we better check on that question about a quorum or not, whether or not 3 counts. I forgot about only having 3 for that reason. Commissioner Duax.
That was my point.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter how you, well, it does matter how you vote, but you have to have a quorum. And I believe you have to have 4 for a quorum, and I thought we already had an opinion written about that.
Correct. We do need 4 to have a quorum, and I wasn't thinking about abstains not counting in the quorum, but I think that's correct. So we will have to redo this, I believe.
You have a quorum. You just have to figure out how you do what the abstention of votes and whether.
But we'll talk about that and check this again, and if necessary, we will have another vote if it doesn't meet legal requirements for a quorum. So, sorry, we'll check on it.
This program was recorded and presented by Chippewa Valley Community Television. Chippewa Valley Community Television is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, you can contact us by calling 715-839-5067 or on the web at www.cbctv.org.